Coach, I guess just to be back at this point, I mean, this was the end goal. This is where you wanted to be loading the plane at the end of the year. This is what you worked so hard for all season long.
Yeah. I think as a coaching staff, you sit at the beginning of the year and you set out a master plan for how we want to get better as a team, physically and mentally. And I think mentally was probably one of the biggest things we hit from the end of our last games versus Mississippi State last season. So sitting here, it's surreal, but it's also really cool because I think we're really proud of the work we put in and the opportunity to go compete for a national championship.
Playing in this venue, it's a big venue out there in Oklahoma City. What do you tell the players, to prepare for, looking for, preparing for these games?
Yeah. I think first off, I asked all the returners, sure, the ones that haven't been there, what it's like, just to hear their perspective. And I think one is it's really loud. It's a lot of noise and really loud, but sometimes it's not. Like playing here is Florida State loud. So there's a difference. We'll have our fans, our 200 people are fans, but when you talk about the whole stadium, it's a lot of people that just love softball. So you get loud noises, so we got to communicate and be pretty good on that side of it. I think also, it's like you get to be like a little celebrity there. Everywhere you go, a lot of kids are there coming to watch softball at a high level, and it's like stardom. They get to see all these amazing players from all these schools, and so that's a lot. So that's you're really on all the time. You go to a coffee shop, you're on all the time on pictures and autographs, and so downtime is super important, and we tie in some downtime we get in there too. And then I also think too, it's just another tournament. It's not, because we're here today and we're talking about going on a charter to Oklahoma City, but it's just another tournament. It's just a softball tournament. There's nothing different than what we've been doing all season long. So if we can stay grounded in that, and that comes from the trust you built with your teammates. So the minute it gets pretty big, can we just look each other in the eye and be like, man, it's just another ground ball, fly ball, and a runner at two, and keep it that simple.
How beneficial is the familiarity with Oklahoma State with the fact that they're the opener for you?
Yeah, it's very beneficial to have played teams already and played in the state of Oklahoma already. But we're a different team than we were when we played them. They're a different team now too. So I think that the fact is we've gone through this gauntlet of a season, and now we're prepared for anything at this point. I think the familiarity for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State is they play at that venue quite a bit. They play the Big 12 tournament there. They play regular season there. So it'll be really comfortable for them. It may take us a while to feel out the fences and feel out things because that is a different environment. But when it comes to competition, I think it's more what we do and then how we're going to do it against teams that maybe we've already seen.
You mentioned the crowd. I mean, you're going to get a taste of that right off the bat because you mentioned it. It's kind of it's not as much of a home game as it is for Oklahoma, but it is still a home game for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Is that something that I'm sure you'll talk about it, but until you're in it, you're really not, they're not going to really understand what it is. How do you address that with the team?
It's what you play for. So you want to be in these environments. You want to be in the biggest thing is it's 2 layers, so it's almost like a football stadium. It echoes, so that's going to be a little bit, unique. But we've played in some great environments. Clemson was a great environment. Vautech was a good environment. Like we've played in some heavy fan yelling and big game moments environments. And I don't know if much more other than playing super regionals at our place with our fans. I mean, it was extremely loud and electric. So we've been in a lot of really good moments that we can rely on.
How far ahead have you scouted cool opponents like Washington or Utah?
Yeah, nitty-gritty scouting, not yet. That'll be more probably tonight. But over the weekend, there was a lot of watching games of all the teams. So I wouldn't say I'm very familiar with all the teams. Our players are too because they were able to sit home on Saturday and Sunday and watch some games also. But the actual nitty-gritty will be a little more detailed tonight, tomorrow.
Coach, how important is game one? I mean, if you get that game, you get the day off, you get to set up your pitching staff, the way you want it. How big a deal would be to get that game?
I mean, we have not done it that way, so all of ours have been a loss. So I don't know, honestly, what game one winning is like. But statistically, it's huge. Rest is huge. All those things are huge. But I don't put extra pressure on that. We got to go play the game, and whatever happens from there, we go. And probably the great thing is we've had a lot of experience losing game one and getting in fight mode and getting after even winning a championship. So I think when you look at numbers, you're like, oh man, if you lose a game, where are you going to be? Well, we've been there. So we know that we can fight and then come out of it. And so I don't put a lot of pressure on that. But obviously, statistically, that's a huge advantage to win game one.
we talked about the time slot that you guys, I don't know if it makes too much of a difference, but you know, there was the 12 and then all the way to 9:30, you guys land the 7. Is that going to benefit you guys in any way, or I guess how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, night games, you know, sometimes are tough because what do you do all day long? So you've got to manage your nervous energy at that point. But I mean, we've been doing that a little bit too. So you know, at this point, you've been together as a team, and you know, can you just, probably the biggest thing for me is, do we get downtime where we can get away and just not be so engaged and take away that engagement energy and just, you know, get a couple hours by ourselves to be able to get after, you know, the games.
Coach, you mentioned the fans.
Squad.
He's so cute.
He is so
cute.
Fit in that backpack, I know. Yeah.
It's bigger than him.
Yeah.
You mentioned the fans. I mean, electric atmosphere in Tallahassee. You guys have had such a good turnout
Yep.
at OKC when you've been there. Even the boosters today to make this trip possible. Just to Florida State fans, just how thankful are you to have this fan base behind your back?
Yeah, I mean, extremely thankful for our community. You know, our fan base is incredible. There's a Florida State fan base, and we have a community. You know, and I joke about family being a core value and really important to us, but it is a lived value here. It is something that when we go visit TMH or, you know, the fire department or whatever it might be, everyone feels so invested in the games, you know, and I get so many random emails of like, oh man, Georgia's knocking out the lines, tell the umpire, you know, everyone's so invested in things, and I love it. I think it's so awesome. So to me, that's what college sports is all about. And we're able to have a fan base in our hip pocket, and it's not judgmental. It's very, everyone enjoys softball, and they enjoy the girls, and they enjoy the environment. So we're very lucky for that.
You ready to go play for them now?
Oh yeah. I think we've been playing from all season. I think, you know, at this point, you know, it's anything can happen. The ball can bounce anyway, you know, but we're the most prepared team we can be. And I think we flipped the switch probably 2 weeks ago. Everyone's all in. Doesn't really matter how it happens. I mean, you could see Autumn Belvi and Amaya coming off the bench and getting 60 feet, and there's an electricity about it, you know. So everyone knows their role. They're ready to be, you know, all they need to be for us.